Hi fellow book lovers and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be the last video of this little New Year's series that I created. I just put a bunch of videos up in a row. And it's going to be the last video for a couple of weeks because then January is gonna come. Anyways, I don't want to waste any more time with talking about things I've already talked about and just jump into the mangas and graphic novels that I read in the month of December. Well, the first thing that I've read in the month of December in the year of 2022 was What a Wonderful World, Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Inio Asano. This is a collection of short stories about the dreams, the wishes, the aspirations that one once had, and the question of what came of them. What happens if we stopped to pursue the version of the person that we once wanted to be? What happened to the boy that played his guitar in the basement and wanted to become a part of a band? With a lot of humor and optimism, Asano tells us about the reality of dreaming and inspires us to never give up on them, no matter how crazy the dreams may sound. I love the first volume of this. The second one is a bit different. I think it focused a bit more on like hope in hopeless times. And the stories in it are a bit longer, but both of the volumes were capable of like touching me there. I am at the point in my life where I'm thinking about the choices that I made until now, or rather like the choices that I did not make yet, maybe. I fear wasting my life, which is stupid to say because I don't know, what is wasting? What does that even mean? But I do fear about that. And I just wanted to share that so you can understand the sort of feeling that the manga evoked in me, and also like why it was something that I really enjoyed and loved. I think you can read it even without having those questions in your heart. I certainly cried because of that, but I don't think it's necessarily a manga to cry to. Additionally, it also has like these very early 2000s vibes, which is maybe why I also enjoyed it so much, because this is like the era that I grew up in. So editing Lena here, I think I did the book a huge misjustice by only focusing on the childhood dreams thing. So it's so much more, it's also about that, but it's about life in general, about the beauty and the pain in life and what makes it so wonderful while we also suffer like dogs at times. These short stories are just so wonderful. I hope it's clearer now, and I'm so sorry for like this confusion. I guess to me this was probably my manga of the month, although I should have put it in the last place of the books that I was going to talk about, and also I only have 4 mangas to talk about, so I don't know, and we're doing that at random. Anyways, let's move on to the next book, which was Her Name was Tomoji by Jiro Taniguchi. This is a manga on Tomoji Uchida, who was the founder of the Shojushin temple. This is a Buddhist temple that was built in the 1930s. Taniguchi focuses on her childhood in this manga, especially like her upbringing, how she went to school, how she worked besides learning at school, and then how she met her husband, I think at the age of 19, and married him then. Tomoji later in her life became a monk, and she also received the highest religious rank in like one of the Buddhist schools. Unfortunately, that's where my knowledge about her stops. I have absolutely no clue in what way she influenced Japanese culture, or in what way she was maybe important to Japan or to Taniguchi, and I also couldn't find anything useful on this. So if anybody perhaps who sees this video knows anything about it and wants to share their knowledge with everybody else, I would be so thankful for this. So we're just gonna move to the next book, and I hope it's okay. The next one I read is Alien by Aisha Franz. This is a graphic novel by a German artist, and it's a lot about love and relationships and disappointments in love and relationships, getting older, growing up, sexuality and discovering sexuality, and it explores all these topics in a sort of surrealistic way. So the story starts with a girl called Girl finding an alien in a field and taking it home with her. And then she starts to interact with this alien. Like, she addresses it, she communicates with it, but we can't really be sure whether this alien actually exists because nobody else ever interacts with it, or I think even knows about it. But maybe that's also because the other members of the family are a bit too busy with their own lives to maybe notice that there's an alien in the house. I don't know. But we do not only get to see like girl's world, but also the world of her older sister and of her mother, and they are experiencing similarly surreal moments. And then the final manga that I read this month, or should I rather say manga series, was Tokyo Ghoul. I started this like 2 years ago, and then I stopped at volume 6 or something, and the remaining 8 volumes I finally read in December. There are so many videos on this already because it's so popular that I feel so redundant doing this little recap here, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna tell you that the series was one that got released between the years of 2011 and 2014, and then it got turned into a manga in 2014 that ran until 2018, I think, and it consists of 14 volumes. The story is about Kaneki, who's our protagonist, that falls in love with Liz, and after they've been on a pretty successful date, Liz lures him to an abandoned site, like a construction site, and she tries to eat him. An accident happens and a metal tube falls on the two of them. So Liz gets killed during that accident and Ken gets badly wounded. So he gets taken to the hospital where the people in the hospital transplant Liz's body parts into his body in order for him to survive. And from that point on, he is no longer just human, but also partly ghoul. Or is he more ghoul than human? For one part, he can't eat anything normal at all anymore. Like human food, ooh, tastes like garbage. But he gets hungry, so he kind of needs to find a way around that while still having a conscience and feeling guilty about his needs. So there's a lot of fighting going on, a lot of humor, a lot of action, and over-the-top cool and strong and freaky characters, and it's lovely. But what I also enjoyed a lot in this manga is that it was able to balance the conflict between humans and ghouls. Because they are natural enemies. They regularly try to assassinate themselves because ghoul wants to eat human. Human doesn't like that, so human is attacking ghoul. And ghoul is trying to defend themselves. So natural enemies, I'd say. Neither of the side is like purely one thing. Nobody's just the right side, the wrong side, the bad side, the evil side, the good side, the bad side, the evil, and the good, the three sides. And Kaneki is a sort of catalyst for some people's rethinking or some events even happening because of his duality of sides and worlds. And Ken himself is also someone whose personality changes a lot throughout the course of the story, just because he gets confronted with the cruelty of the world a lot of times, and all of his beliefs and morals and what he thinks to be good and right just gets like thrown to the ground and stomped on sometimes. Even worse than that sometimes. But I appreciate it so much because there's so much character growth happening because of that in the entire series. Like the Ken from the last pages is not the same Ken from the first pages. Not at all. Two different people. I'd say that this is a very versatile manga. It's definitely one that you could lean back to and just, enjoy the fight scenes. Although I must say that the scenes, in my opinion, are a bit messily drawn. Anyways, it's also one that people who love to have something underneath, like a message or something that they can take away or think about, could enjoy next to the Boom Boom Pow. One final note though, this is definitely nothing for the faintly hearted. There are some really brutal scenes in this, and there are high stakes involved sometimes, and also sometimes there's no payoff. But it's definitely, there were definitely some moments where I had to gasp. It was like, oh my god. But it was a good gasp. I enjoy it. If your book taste is something similar like mine, you would maybe also like this. I know that this is age restricted at 15, so in Austria it's available from the age of 15. I know I would have gobbled this up when I was 15. I did now, but I wouldn't say it's too brutal, that's what I'm saying with that, but I also don't know where your threshold is. And like so, I am at the end of my wrap up. And I'm gonna repeat myself once more. I'll see you again in, I don't know, 3 to 4, maybe a bit more weeks. And until then, I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best. Have a great new year, my friends. Oh my god. I'll see you at another time in another video. Bye. But neither of the sides is just purely one thing, so we don't have a right and a wrong side, the evil and the bad side. Fuck, evil and bad. I did it again.